Met on Tinder. We're seeing each other just for SCX for about 2 months, and then she suddenly disappeared without a trace. The other day, a friend introduces me as her friend and her husband, and I see this girl with a terrified facial expression. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, My Former Friends with Benefits Was Hiding She Was Married. Should I Let Her Husband Know? And guys, this story is about a guy. He is 26 and the girl is 28. And they met through Tinder. Big surprise there. And they had a fling going on for a little while. I think it was a couple months. And then abruptly, out of nowhere, she cut off all contacts and he never saw or heard from her again. Fast forward some time, and one day he was out with a friend, I believe it's a woman, and she introduced him to another one of her friends, and guess who it was? The girl he hooked up with. Except guess what? She's married. The whole time he was hooking up with her, he had no idea. And you're going to see there are other things that he didn't know as well. And he was then debating, should I tell her husband? Because I feel terrible because I honestly had no idea that she was married. And you're going to see he does in fact do that. But before he does that, you're going to see she does everything she can to get him to keep it quiet. No surprise there. And wait till you see what happens when he talks to the husband and how she handles the whole thing, all that. It's not going to surprise you at all. And I thought it'd be a good one to cover, because for a lot of you guys that do dating, relationships, pickup, and all that, you may encounter a situation where you can meet up with a girl, you're dating her, hooking up, who knows what it is, whether it's casual hookups or actual dating. And for all you know, not only could she have a boyfriend, she could actually be married. And she could be meeting you with a completely different name, making up everything about her, and you never know. And that next thing you know, there could be an angry guy on your doorstep with a weapon. So it's very important to do some serious screening and vetting with gals you get involved with. And then there's the question that if you do find out that actually a gal you're hooking up with, in fact, had a boyfriend or was married or something like that, and you didn't know, and you cut off with her, the old debate, do you tell him or not? Because there's the age-old damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you tell him and he takes it the wrong way, he can come after you, and instead of blaming her, blaming you, when you honestly didn't know. Or it may help him. So I'm going to go through this, guys. I'll get into that a little bit more. So it starts off, he says here, we met on Tinder. Shocker. We're seeing each other for just SCX for about 2 months. Then she suddenly disappeared without a trace. The other day, a friend of mine introduces me to her friend and her husband, and I see this girl, that girl, with a terrified facial expression as I approach and intentionally greet her with a fake name. He says she lied even about her name, before correcting myself and telling me her real name. Talk about a small world. And some people may say, oh, this is bullshit, that wouldn't happen. Well, you never know. Her husband is already a bit suspicious, and he should be. If only he knew that we were meeting about a year and a half ago, and they'd been married for 5 years. She's suddenly blowing up my phone again to just keep it shush. But I don't know. Should I? I just ignored her so far. What should I do? I feel like I should tell. Well, again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't say anything, well, this could just keep going on, and this poor guy could be cheated on again because these types are going to keep this up. Or if you do tell him, he may take it the wrong way and come after you. So it's a tough situation. Personally, I would get the information to him, but I would try to handle it in a way that he didn't know where I lived or where I worked or my real name, and he may provide some evidence, just to protect myself. So let's see how this goes. He says here, thank you to everyone for your support. I feel like telling him is the right thing to do, and you just confirmed it. I already told my friend about it and showed her our text before, and also her asking me to keep it silent now. And my friend also thinks that I should speak up. I have everything ready. I sent the guy a friend request on Facebook. I barely found him. I, however, plan to do it IRL if he's willing to meet with me. So he's got all the proof. The text exchanges, the Tinder stuff, all that. This poor guy, he has no idea what's about to happen to him. He says, as an update, she just called me at work. Long story short, he mentioned her about my friend request, and she apparently admitted to him that we were having something from the past over the text, and said that is why I was trying to talk to him. Now he apparently left home early and will wait for her to come home tonight. She also apologized to me and told me she understands my decision. My friend will later verify how many of this is true, and I'll keep you updated. I guarantee you, whatever this woman needs to hook up with has in mind, her husband is not going to get the full story. She'll give him the bare minimum that he needs to know, enough to admit something's going on, because obviously he knows something's going on, but also to try to keep him around. And if that doesn't work, there's always the waterworks. Now watch this. It says here, the guy accepted my friend request and sent me his phone number telling me to call him, and I did. He wanted to verify what she told him. She told him it was a year and a half ago, but she also claimed that we had done it just one time. One time. That was when she was pretty drunk and vulnerable, which she feels is a lie. Vulnerable. Does this mean that setting the stage that maybe this guy took advantage of her? And this one-time shit, this guy said this happened obviously many times over the course of 2 months. And already vulnerable. Hoping maybe her husband will see her as the victim, and this guy's the big giant villain, and you get the point. I told him it's not the case, and I told him it lasted for around 2 months, and I can prove it too. To which he got emotional and said that they never had any issues, but he often felt something is off. He had that feeling all along, but was even upset at himself for doubting her and not trusting her even more. So he knew something, his gut told him. What did I tell you guys about trusting your gut and the red flags? He knew something was up, and he actually felt bad for doubting her and thought that everything was just fine in their relationship. That's what all the guys say. Everything was great. I thought everything was great, and then I found out. He hung up the phone when he started to cry. I sent him the evidence of this lasting way longer than just once, and that she wasn't drunk at all. He thanked me for it and asked me to please send him everything, no matter how nasty it is, because he may need it for divorce process. He made it his decision and will be leaving her. Well, good for that guy. Imagine this. The guy woke up one day and thought his day was good, everything's great, and next thing you know, he finds out and finds evidence that his wife is having an affair. And I have a very hard time believing this is the only one. Maybe it's possible that she does this often, where she'll meet a guy, they'll hook up for a couple months, and when she starts to sense maybe this guy would want something more because, he thinks that she's single, just disappears, on to the next guy, on to the next guy, on to the next guy. It says here, and he confirmed to me that they didn't have any issues and weren't broken up while it lasted, as some of the commenters here claimed. He would probably forgive her, but it hurt him that he would have never known about it if I wasn't reaching out to him. But another thing that she still didn't give him the full truth, that she lied to him yet again. She even asked him to block me so they can move on from this, after which he got conclusion that he really should talk to me. And after talking to me, he said he had even doubts that was the one that she cheated with. It was the most heartbreaking for him, is in his words, he said, my wife's side pieces care more about me than my effing wife, who I've known since I was 9 years old. That is sad. Really. Her side piece cares more about him than her. And again, notice that she is saying we can move on from this. It's always interesting in these stories I cover, where it's the gal that tries to get the guy to understand we can just move on from this. Let's just forget about this. We can come back that much stronger. And it's like, lady, you're not the one that's being cheated on, okay? You had somebody's sausage in you in many orifices, and you just expect me to get over this? Because the guy's not going to do that. He's going to spend a lot of time, probably for ages, thinking about it. Every time they hook up, he's going to imagine some other guy's you-know-what in her. Every time she's on her phone texting, he's going to think, who's she texting with? Every time she's going out for a girls' night or after work drinks or something, wondering, is she meeting up with some dude? And you can't blame him. And you know what? If the situation was reversed and a wife found out their husband was doing the same thing, she'd be thinking the same thing. Really. Now, real quick, some comments before I wrap this thing up. One guy says here, I wasn't sure if this guy was doing the right thing while reading this until I got to this line. I was trying to see all sides and all that. But yeah, no question, the OOP did the right thing, and the truth came out and showed the husband exactly where he stands in his relationship. I feel bad for this guy. Yeah, I do feel bad for the husband. And this guy who wrote in the poster here is an honorable guy. He honestly didn't know. And he risked a lot by contacting that husband. It could have gone a completely different direction. And the guy says here, so many people get more upset with their affair partner than their actual partner. I'm glad this guy knows where to place the blame. It still sucks though. Another one says, why on earth, knowing that your affair partner has just met your husband, would you come clean with a false story rather than the true one? What kind of damage do you have to believe that would actually work in reality? Well, that's usually how it works. They'll tell just enough to hopefully get by, but there's usually more and more lies going on. And also, these types are usually pathological liars. Lying is like breathing to them. And the guy says, silver lining is with the receipts that this guy has on his soon-to-be ex-wife, he's got the upper hand in divorce proceedings. They're going to fall apart eventually, it seems. Glad the OP did the right thing. Well, I would hope this guy would have the upper hand in the divorce proceedings, but how many stories have I done on this channel? The other one where the guy has all the evidence, but because of where he lives and the laws of the land, and the family courts and everything, still, she gets half. She gets the alimony. If they have kids, we got to have child support. She gets the kids. She gets the alimony. She gets the house, all that stuff like that. Part of his retirement, 401k, whatever. Meanwhile, I can imagine the guy like, Your Honor, I got all this stuff here. She's the one that ruined the relationship. She cheated. Well, I'm sorry, son. It's terrible. These are why I tell guys, really get to know your girl, spend years and years and years with her. Definitely get a prenup for you and a prenup for her to make sure there's no issues of duress for her signing the prenup, amongst other things. So that things go wrong, you're protected. But a lot of guys they're so fearful of bringing up the prenup thing or spending more and more time to get to know her that they mess up. The other guy says here, yikes, she kind of accused you of S-word assault as a way to cover her cheating. Never underestimate the lengths some people will go to cover their ass. Yeah, you could tell when she said I was vulnerable when we were meeting together. And last one, if you cheat on your spouse, you're trash. If your relationship is the point that you're unhappy enough to actually F someone else, divorce. Or better yet, maybe have a conversation with your freaking spouse before taking a risk of pregnancy by someone else or disease. Damn. Yeah. That's the thing. Nobody communicates anymore. If you're unhappy and you feel like there's still something left, then talk to your wife or your husband, and hopefully you can salvage them. But just going out and doing that to them, aside from the fact that somebody can get pregnant, somebody can STD, it's just not worth it. And at the end of the day, you're not happy, just break up. Just end it. It'll be hard and all that, but it's far worse to do these awful things. But sadly, people generally take the easy way out. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And guys, you come across a really good story like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will when I get a chance. And also, don't forget to include the link to the story. A lot of guys send me the stories, and it's like, where the hell is the link? And I can't do it. I never hear from the guy again. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.